So today we'll be looking at rhetorical analysis, and this is one of the essay prompts on the AP English 1 exam, and it's definitely one of the more difficult types of essays and one of the most important for you to succeed on the exam and in the class. So, what is it? A rhetorical analysis employs the principles of rhetoric to examine the interactions between a text, an author, and an audience. It's also called it can also be called a rhetorical criticism or pragmatic criticism. But in the context of AP 1, you'll mostly be seeing it called a rhetorical analysis. So basically with the rhetorical analysis, let's talk a little bit about the structure. So it's, for me at least, structure has never really been something that's like crazy about a rhetorical analysis. Like, you'll never be asked to write a 5 paragraph rigid rhetorical analysis. It's a lot freer in the sense that, like, there's no actual structure that's required of this type of essay. So when writing a rhetorical analysis, it's really beneficial to start off with like an intro where you talk about like the author's purpose in writing the article and whatnot, and also you create a thesis which kind of describes the different literary devices you're going to be talking about later on in the essay. And then after your intro, you're going to be writing a body paragraph, of course. Now, this is a little bit different than what most people are used to in other types of essays. Mostly because the uh, the body paragraph, you don't need more than one. It can be just like a single paragraph. Like, as I said before, like the um the structure isn't very rigid. So like you could have a ton of paragraphs or you can only have like one or two. It all depends on the text, actually. It depends on how many literary devices and literary tools you'll be discussing. So then after your body paragraph is done, after you've looked through the different literary devices, you'll have to look at your time, like how much time you've got left to write the rest of your essay, and you need to decide whether or not you need a conclusion. Now, conclusions for rhetorical analyses, they're not really necessary. They're just, I guess they're nice to have, but it's it's definitely more than acceptable to just write like a single sentence closure to end your essay. It's not really necessary to have a full out conclusion paragraph. Okay, let's look at the what to look for. So, what are you going to be looking for when you're writing a rhetorical analysis? So, the first thing you want to look for is the motivation for the argument, and this is basically going to be why the author is writing about this. Like, does he have some sort of personal connection? Could he possibly be biased? Things like that. And you're gonna find these, and you're going to they're basically gonna be like within your intro paragraph. You're gonna be talking about that in your intro paragraph. And then after that, you'll be looking at the reader and the author. So, what's the relationship between the reader and the author? Like, is the author trying to inform the reader? Is he trying to persuade the reader? What's he doing? The reader being you, of course. And what effect is this having on you as the reader? That's also important to have in your intro paragraph. Next, you'll be looking at the limitations, which are basically like you're gonna be looking at like whether or not the author was biased or maybe he wasn't like credible in terms of the topic he's discussing. And then finally, you'll be looking at the text itself. Of course, like that's the most important part, right? So you'll be looking at you'll be just looking at the text to find the main components of your body paragraph. You'll be looking through it to find the various literary devices, which I'll discuss in another video. You'll be looking at it to find these devices and create the foundation for your body paragraph and the rest of your essay. You're going to find these devices, you're going to find the tools the author uses, and you're going to write about why he's doing this, what effect it has on the essay as a whole, and what effect it has on you as the reader. Like, how are these devices that the author is using contributing to the reason for writing this text? So how is like his allegory, for example, helping him to use the text to persuade the reader, or to inform the reader, or etc., like anything. And yeah, that's pretty much a quick rundown of what a rhetorical analysis is and its structure. I'll be discussing more in depth the various things you'll be looking for in the paragraphs in later videos.